Boys, the end times may be upon us. Yamaha are going automatic with their motorcycles. Well, calm your britches, get your pitchforks down, don't go to the comment section just yet. We do have some patents that were released showing that the Yamaha YZF R7 and MT-07 are gonna be going automatic. Now, it doesn't mean that all the motorcycles are gonna sell are gonna be automatic, not that every MT-07 will be, but they're gonna be offering it as an option. But what's interesting is that everybody's kind of doing this automatic motorcycle thing now. Recently, Honda came out with their e-clutch system that I think is actually pretty ingenious because it's all upside and no downside. Let me explain what I mean. Honda's e-clutch is really unique because it's a little gadget that sits on the side of the gearbox and the clutch assembly to where it intercepts the cable pull on the actual unit, and you can actually not use the clutch at all. Using advanced motorcycle control units and engine mapping systems, the system actually knows when you need to use the clutch, and it'll just go ahead and yank on the string for you, or the cable rather. Basically, it uses a system of gears and complex things inside of that to where when you come to a stop, it pulls in the clutch and actually yanks on the cable, and when you take off, it removes that back and lets the transmission, the gearbox, and mate back with the engine. Now, it's really cool because it lets people ride seamlessly. You can just roll on the throttle as if it's some sort of scooter, but the big difference is you have to change gears yourself. This Yamaha system seems a little bit different in that it's going completely away with the clutch lever, and you're just gonna change gears on the handlebar. Now, I had the chance to ride a DCT motorcycle many times. I actually made a whole video on the Rebel 1100 DCT, and it is quite unique and different to ride. But a DCT system is very different than the stuff we're talking about here today because it features a double clutch system and is actually completely automatic. There's no clutch lever, and you can change gears yourself, but it still feels a little slush boxy. The Honda e-clutch system to me is more reminiscent of a Ferrari semi-automated manual system from way back in the day. Whereas you actually have, paddles to shift gears, but you don't have to use them. Now, the tricky thing with the Honda is you do have to make your gear shifts yourself. When you're going down the road, you have to still click up through the gearbox. The thing can't shift for itself. So if you were to just pin it wide open in first gear, it'll just bang off the limiter until you tell it finally to go into second gear. But again, the Yamaha system is gonna be a bit different because it's actually gonna be completely automatic. You can just roll on the throttle, there's no clutch, and you can let the thing just work for you, or you can tap the buttons and change the gears yourself. Me personally, I like the Honda system a little bit better because you can still interact with the clutch, because once you pull in the clutch, it completely bypasses the e-clutch system. I think that's really great because it lets old school riders like me still ride the motorcycle in a more normal way. I'd love to see this technology trickle down into Honda's 500 class, for example, that's a more beginner appropriate bike than the current model that they have it on, the CB650R and the CBR650R. Because if you reduce that layer of complexity around the clutch for a beginner rider, it's just gonna make it a little bit more simple and easier to understand the motorcycle, and they can take off and ride. But a CBR650R is not really a beginner bike, is it? One application that this is gonna be really interesting and useful in is adventure style motorcycles. Now, for those who may not have ridden off-road much, when you're riding off-road, clutch control becomes extremely important, especially in low grip situations. When you're riding around the trails and you have uneven terrain and loose terrain, you usually slip the clutch in first gear, give yourself a little bit of the correct amount of power, especially on a big, powerful ADV, for example, like a Tenere 700 or an Africa Twin, where any flick of the wrist will probably induce wheel spin. So in a lot of cases like that, you're feathering the clutch and slowly maneuvering terrain. If you had an automatic, maybe it could be easier. But that begs the question, how smart are these systems to allow for those situations in off-road conditions? I don't really know. Because on dry pavement and on road conditions, I think it'd be a little bit easier to have the clutch figure out how to manage itself. But what's really interesting is BMW is also getting in this game as well. They want to make their motorcycles automatic or have some sort of assisted system.
I know a vast majority of you watching this channel don't own your own bike yet, and that's okay. Soak up the knowledge and enjoy yourself while you're here, my sweet squid in training. But did you know I give away motorcycles here on this channel? I've actually given away over 50 bikes valued at over $500,000 in the last 5 years. All you need to do to get entered is go to yammynoob.co, pick out a hat, a hoodie, a t-shirt, a key tag, whatever you want, and every dollar you spend will be an entry to win subject to a cool multiplier. It's the easiest, no commitment way to get entered to win. But if you want the best chance to win, you should become a member. Not only will you get automatic entries to win, but you'll also get access to our exclusive Discord server, spicy NSFW Yammy Noob content, and more. So head over to the website, get entered to win, and check it out.
I rode the MV Agusta Turismo Veloce 800, if memory serves me correctly for the name of that model, and it had the SCS system, which is a smart clutch system. Now, that uses a Rekluse style clutch, kind of like a dirt bike, in that you don't need to use the clutch coming out of first gear, and then it has a quick shift up and down, which allows you to seamlessly go through the box without ever having to worry about your throttle control or your clutch. Again, systems like that allow riders just to be a little bit easier and a little bit lazier when it comes to their commutes, and will overall reduce fatigue as well. The reason I like MV Agusta's system is the same as the Honda's. If you pull in the clutch, it acts just like a normal motorcycle. With Yamaha trying to get into this game that Honda's been at for 10 plus years now with DCT style motorcycles, BMW entering the market as well, and innovations like this e-clutch system, I think we're just making it easier and easier for people to get into motorcycling. Here in America, one of the biggest barriers to get into motorcycling is the fact that you have to use a clutch. Most people just know how to drive an automatic transmission, which I think is really sad, but that is what it is here. You know, the joke is often that if you live in America and you want an anti-theft device on your car, just get a stick shift and no one's gonna be able to steal it. So if we reduce those layers of difficulty to get people to ride motorcycles, maybe we'll get more riders. And it seems like manufacturers are betting big on this being the case. But I will say, if I had to pick between a DCT system that was completely automatic and I only got the buttons, or something like the e-clutch system where I still had a clutch and full control over the gearbox, I think I'd have to go for the e-clutch system. To me, the e-clutch, there pretty much is no downside, right? You can manually use the box if you want to, you can use the clutch lever if you want to, and it works just like a normal motorcycle. I think the only downside is that it's not gonna automatically change gears for you, but I think if you're used to riding even a bicycle, you'd know how to change gears and to be in the right gear at the right time. It doesn't take that much effort to know what gear to be in for certain corners, and you'll very quickly understand that you can't be in 6th gear trying to get onto the highway going 30 miles an hour. So whatever helps motorcycles become more accessible and simple to people, I am all about. So what do you guys think? Do you think Kawasaki is going to be the next major manufacturer to enter this fold? I think the e-clutch system is super interesting, and the fact that it just kind of bolts onto the side of the clutch but still allows you to use it perfectly is really cool to me. I'm not so sure if I'm sold on Yamaha's full automatic system, and I don't really know if it's gonna work for off-road applications. If you guys have a DCT motorcycle you've taken off-road, if you have a DCT Africa Twin that you've extensively ridden on trails or off-road, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If it's something that you found useful, or you know, you don't have to futz around with the clutch and low speeds. And the biggest thing about riding off-road with an automatic to me would be the lack of stalling. When you're riding off-road, you normally, if you're going really slow, if you don't feather the clutch or pulling it correctly, you can usually stall the motorcycle, especially if you're navigating a tricky uphill or a downhill. It's usually a bit harder to stall going downhill, but I've seen everything and anything when riding off-road. So the fact that you can't stall and you don't have to feather the clutch might make it simpler for people to navigate some more, you know, fire roads, gravel roads on their Africa Twins. I don't really think you should be taking your DCT Africa Twin on single track, but do whatever you gotta do. So do you think these auto transmissions are gonna make people faster? Are you excited to see them? Again, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for checking out today's video. I truly do appreciate it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Wake up! You're dreaming! You're dreaming! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! None of this is real! None of it's real! None of it's real! Wake up! Keep watching Yammy Noob.